And for more on the potential role hydrogen may play in the future energy mix, I'm very pleased to say that we're joined now by Marco Alverà, CEO of Snam and founding member of CNBC's ESG Council. Great to have you on Street Signs to help us kick off our new initiative, ESG Council. I want to come on to hydrogen specifically in a moment, but first, just more broadly, Europe has made very clear that as it looks to build back from the pandemic, it wants to do so in a greener way. What role does utility infrastructure play to allow Europe to be able to move ahead and implement the next phase of its green revolution?
Thank you for having us. So Europe, even before COVID, was committed to net zero. Net zero is going to require a lot of capital. Even before the recovery efforts were at work, we were talking about 1,000 billion euros, so €1 trillion to get the green transition going. I think COVID is going to make that effort even more urgent, and there's more consensus with the US deciding to rejoin the Paris Accord. 2021 will go down in the energy history as a key turning point, because we now have 60% of emissions in countries that one way or the other are committed to net zero, whether it's 2050 or 2060. And the only way you get to net zero is by greening the molecules. We heard earlier from Ryanair, you cannot run an airplane on batteries. You can run it on biofuels and you can run it on hydrogen. It will take time, but the role of companies like Snam is to bring that green hydrogen made from renewable energy. So turning solar energy or wind energy plus water into a gas that behaves exactly like natural gas, or in a similar way to fossil fuels, but it's 100% renewable. And we can transport that renewable fuel using the existing infrastructure. So that's a big breakthrough. We've proven that you can move hydrogen in the existing natural gas network, which not only saves hundreds of billions of new investments, but also means we're ready to get going as soon as the hydrogen is produced. And that's what we're working on, producing the hydrogen, being able to move it around and creating enough demand for that. And I'm happy to report that we can get hydrogen made from renewable energy to become cost competitive with certain fossil fuels, where there's availability of solar and wind energy. We can make that cost competitive in the next 5 years.
That's pretty incredible that you will be able to embrace hydrogen using existing infrastructure. That means that it will be seamless. You don't need to adjust it or adapt it at all to be able to accommodate this alternative energy?
Depends on the quality of the steel. In our case, we run Europe's largest gas network. We have 85% of the steel in our network below the ground is ready to take on today 100% hydrogen. We will need to change some of the valves, some of the equipment that's above the ground. Every few kilometers there's a valve. Hydrogen is much smaller than natural gas, so you need to change some of the membranes and some of those materials, but the steel is ready. Now, we can go through a phase where we actually blend hydrogen and natural gas together. Ultimately, we will have one pipeline dedicated to what I expect will be biomethane, so gas, natural gas made from waste, and another pipeline for pure hydrogen. But we're ready to go. We've proven that you can get up to 10% blend into a factory, actually a factory that was making pasta in southern Italy. They went on for a month without tweaking anything in their factory.
Right. Very interesting to hear what you have to say about the transportation of it. But one issue that always comes up in the context of hydrogen as an alternative energy source is its lack of efficiency. So a lot of the efficiency, the energy efficiency, is lost throughout the production process, through the transportation process. Are you confident we can get to a stage where there's less waste of energy? And that this becomes a lot more reliable in terms of an alternative energy source? Because right now people say that just too much of the efficiency is lost throughout the process.
Look, I think where you can go straight from renewable to using that renewable source, there will not be a need for hydrogen. So let's take a step back. Electricity today represents 20% of the global energy mix, and it's made up mainly of coal and gas with some renewables. That 20% has to get all green, so replacing coal and gas with renewables. And then that 20%, once it's all green, has to grow to about 50%. Then there's another 50%. We heard Ryanair talk about airplanes, trains. A lot of the trains are running on diesel, long-haul trucks, ships, cement, steel. Like Bill Gates clearly says in his books, the hard-to-abate sectors, those cannot be electrified. So even if it's inefficient, the cost of solar has come down so much that even with the efficiencies, I can deliver green hydrogen to a steel maker, maybe not in 5, but maybe in 10 years, at a cost that is competitive with the fossil fuels today. So yes, there is an efficiency. Where I can go straight from sun to factory, where there's a sunny place and a data center, I will go from sun to factory or wind to factory. Where I have sun resources like in Europe that may be away from the factories like in North Africa, then we will need to produce great quantities of hydrogen there and move it to where the factories are in Central Europe and Northern Italy by pipelines.
Marco, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, but we really appreciate you joining us on the show today and also being one of the founding members of our CNBC's ESG Council. So we're looking forward to speaking with you more over the coming months with respect to what you plan on doing there, and particularly as it pertains to the hydrogen transition. All right, and